Day 59 of the oil spill disaster, and while progress is slow in controlling the well, things are speeding up in the boardroom with President Obama securing a $20 billion Gulf Coast repair fund. Some estimate the total cost to be much higher than that, and the White House has said this is an uncapped fund. Like right now, it's still really, for all intent and purposes, an uncapped well. Joe Krier, president of Krier Wealth Management, here to talk about the details of the fund, the real numbers, and the impact on you. You know, it's interesting. You talked about this a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people will have BP stock in, say, their mutual funds and don't know it. President Obama recently said, you know what, I'm getting rid of the funds that have BP stock. Is this something we have to worry about, given the fact that they've allotted $20 billion and they're not paying dividends and things like that?
You know, there's a couple of points in that statement. One is that this is a huge company with over 3 billion shares outstanding, so it's very widely held, and a lot of us own it indirectly through retirement accounts and things like that. A $20 billion hit to a company the size of BP isn't really an issue, but 2 weeks ago we were looking at this and we were talking about $1 and $2 billion. All of a sudden it's blossomed to 20. There's some estimates out there that go way off the charts.
But make no mistake about it, BP can turn this around to their financial positive side.
I think so, you know, and it's become highly political because there's no other stories to focus on right now, and all fingers are pointing at really no one in particular. Congress is pointing at BP. BP's trying to point back to Congress and say, hey, the laws allowed us to do what we did. We operated within the laws, so it's the lawyer's fault and not the company's fault. But I think there's a little bit of blame to go every direction, and it is an accident to begin with. We've got to remember that.
All right, let's talk about BP's financial moves. You talked about that $20 billion reparation fund, and also the Gulf Coast Compensation Fund at $100 million.
Yeah, and that's designed to start getting some money. It's sort of like an unemployment fund, if you will, for all the fishermen and other people that are out of work. They need money right now to pay for groceries, so BP's kind of stepping up there and saying, let's get some money out there. The $20 billion is going to sit there while everybody gets their name on the list, and there's 50 counties involved on the Gulf Coast. There's all kinds of attorneys out there. Everyone's lining up with their hand out. Once they get this organized, then they'll start paying money, but it's going to take 5 years.
You're right. I was going to say, the question becomes, does that money get doled out after it's really already too late for the fishermen and the residents who are seeing financial collapse before their very eyes?
Yeah, you know, and if you compare this to, say, Katrina, it's a lot bigger than Hurricane Katrina, and there was a lot of issues surrounding how the money was doled out there, so they don't want to make the same mistakes and have fraudulent payouts and things like that.
All right, there you can see the oil still spilling out. Let's talk about BP's viability and use the statistics to give us a clearer picture.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is a massive company. The total value of the company is about $100 billion. That's actually down $100 billion since the leak started, so all those shareholders have lost half their value in the stock. But beyond that, they make $265 billion a year in gross revenue. That's from selling oil, and guess who buys all that? You and me. You know, we're the ones that are out there consuming their products. And the estimate of the total cost could go as high as $150 billion. So this is less than 1 year's revenue for them. We don't want them to go bankrupt. Obama said it yesterday, because companies that go bankrupt, they do that to get away from their liabilities. If they go bankrupt, then they don't have to worry so much about this liability. They want the U.S. wants BP in business so they can pay these claims for years to come.
So that would be the worst thing that could happen. Joe Krier, always interesting to talk to you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.